Hi everyone, I'm Bryony, the new community manager at SentiSum and the new host of the Support Insights podcast. Part of my role here is to speak to lots of different people about their own experience in leading a customer support centre or even handling the calls and the emails themselves on the front line. But I thought for my first episode, who better to get on than Sharad and sort of introduce both of us if you haven't already heard from Sharad. He is in some of the previous episodes. What was that one you went on with?
With Sean from Shoe?
Sean from Shoe, that was a brilliant episode. If you go through the previous podcast, you should give that one a listen for sure. Sean's an absolute evangelist of customer experience. But Sharad, what brought you to come up with SentiSum?
I've been a frustrated customer with many companies, I guess.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, I think it's also personal frustration. I feel that brands are still kind of tied up with practices from 1990s, basically.
So you just kind of thought there's room for improvement here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go and fix it myself.
Absolutely. I personally come from tech background, so I'm like, why brands are not leveraging technology? Why they're not leveraging like what we do, leveraging AI and natural language processing to automate all the analysis of huge volume of data? Because at the end of the day, your customer support teams or your agents, they are meant to have a conversation, to have a relationship with your customers, right?
Yeah.
Their job is not to do these tasks like tag tickets and why customers are contacting and then report it to the entire company based on these broken manual workflows. How they look at customer, how they prioritize things, how they uncover insights. So it's just personal frustration on relying on old school market research, surveys to find out what your customers want, and ignoring basically the goldmine of insights that's in your customer conversation data.
A lot of companies go by their Trustpilot score, right? Their Trustpilot score, their NPS score, maybe their ratings on somewhere like Facebook, depending on what kind of company you are. But once your ratings are going down on there, you have a whole issue of trying to resolve them and bring that back up. But if you can see in real time what your customer is saying, what they want, how they're feeling, you can fix it before they go and give you a bad Trustpilot score.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's good to do reviews, surveys. Yes, it does solve a purpose, but there are a lot of limitations with kind of those channels. First, it's too late by the time you understand anything about your customers, right? It has already dented your image on social media. Second, it also is limited by what questions you're asking in those surveys, in those reviews, right? So, but with support conversation, the thing is it's completely unfiltered, right? It's coming from customers who are having some kind of experiences, good or bad, at almost every stage of the journey. So it's like full of insights across the entire customer journey, unlike surveys and reviews just focusing on maybe one aspect of the customer journey. So that's the beauty of unlocking insights from customer support conversations and giving it access to probably every department in the company.
Yeah, I think the key there is that you can be proactive.
Yeah.
So you can go and immediately flag something without... When I was an agent, and we had someone senior from the company come and visit the contact centre, which they often did because we were the most fun. They would say, oh, we launched this new class or something, and I think it's going really well. It's a really cool class.
Yeah.
And we'd be able to say, actually, people have fed back that they prefer the old class.
Yeah.
And they'd go, what? We didn't. They didn't know,
yeah.
And they wouldn't know until the bookings drop right down, and they're consistently having no shows for that class. They wouldn't know until then, or until they're getting bad reviews saying, "Bring back Body Pump. We don't like this new one you've invented," and they would come down and be quite surprised at all the information we actually had that they weren't seeing. And I think that's the case for so many.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many support centres. What have you seen customers achieve using SentiSum?
One of the stories we quite like talking about is a big food tech company that uses SentiSum to share access to voice of customer data across almost every department in the company. Because if you think about it, improving customer experience cannot be the responsibility of one department, right? It requires collaboration across product, operations, marketing, customer service, technology, right? And there's so much of insights hidden in that data. So how do you make everyone aware of these insights? So that's where SentiSum played an instrumental role, in which now every department has real-time access to what customers are complaining about, what's their sentiment like, what they don't like.
And every company that has a large customer support function, or even not particularly big one, have so many different facets to them. So you might have your distribution, you might have your sourcing ingredients. If you are a food company, you have people who are in charge of the customer journey, things like your app, your website, your actual product itself, depending on what your product is. So how can one centre be responsible for every issue that comes in about that, not only in resolving those issues, but feeding that back to the relevant departments? I mean, what the agents do in talking to the customers and resolving the issue and dealing with the phone call, wrapping it up in 30 seconds and going on to the next one, that in itself is already a huge skill set.
Absolutely.
So you can't expect that customer service agent to then take on the role of being a tagging machine at the same time. You put a post on LinkedIn the other day that a lot of people see the customer support centre as a cost centre. And I think we could probably do a whole other episode just on that topic. But that a lot of people resonated with that. Why do you think so many people see it as a cost centre?
I mean, there are too many reasons for it. I think it also comes down to the culture of the company, where you just see the support center as a kind of a way to firefight with complaining customers, rather than using that or leveraging that to build relationship with customers to improve your customer experience. And when you just see them as kind of firefighters, then you will always see them as cost centers, right? Because you're not seeing anything coming out of your customer support. You're not getting new customers. You're not getting improved retention because you're not leveraging them in the right way.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when automated features are introduced, like cancelling, if people no longer need to call or email to cancel, they can do that themselves on an app or a website. That's less volume coming in. So then they see that as less need for that many agents. But actually that could allow them to optimise what they are doing. And there's so many ways you can improve conversations and boost retention.
Absolutely. Like we keep saying, it's just gold mine of insights.
Yes.
Companies need to unlock this gold mine. And once you unlock this and start sharing with almost every department in the company, that's when everyone will start valuing customer support, because they have got everything for almost everyone. They are the gateway to your customers.
Yes.
So let me ask you this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What kind of guest you want to bring to the podcast? Who are your top 5 or top 10? The people or the brands you want on your podcast?
Oh, the brands. Oh, do you know what? There's obviously some big names who I would love to get on the podcast to find out their ethos. But I do find that a lot of the smaller, newer brands are more customer centric.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So what I want is to speak to people who genuinely care about their agents and about their customers. Whether that's from a data perspective, whether they look at it from a culture perspective, or ROI, if they're really into cold hard numbers, whatever it is their background is.
What's the first thing you want to talk about in your episode? Is there any specific topic you have in mind that you would want to talk about?
I have a list of companies.
Okay.
I don't want to say them, just in case. But I have a list of companies who I've seen doing fantastic things,
right,
who I would love to speak to and just dive into how they've done that and how other people can do the same. I think that, as I said, everyone's company is so different, that achieving something like a higher Trustpilot rating when you're a huge business is really difficult.
Right.
So even though it's such a simple thing, there's so much to it, and I would love to get those real insights from these people. There's a retailer that I'm trying to speak to at the moment. They sell from so many different brands and they get reviews on every single item that they sell. So I want to know how on earth they're collating all of that information at the minute because they're not a customer yet. So it must be really difficult to actually keep track of all of that. And what do they do with all that information? Because I've reviewed on there several times and I'd love to know where that's going.
Right.
So I do have a dream list, and we'll see how that
Any
goes.
of our customers on that list?
Yes.
Ooh.
There are several of our customers on that list. Our customers are fantastic, and I've spoken to a few of them already, and they're doing such brilliant things. And again, I won't name drop, but I am looking forward to expanding on those relationships. But I thought I'd just start with putting you in the hot seat.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I thought you'd appreciate it. Got to start strong, making the boss uncomfortable. What better way to secure your position?
Good onboarding.
Well, thank you so much for being the first guest on my podcast, Sharad.
Pleasure.
I look forward to doing more episodes, talking to more people, and if anyone wants to get involved in the podcast, if anyone would like to be a guest, please get in touch, and I would love to find out what insights you might have for me and for other customer support, customer service, customer experience professionals out there.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Bryony.
Thanks.